Hi everyone! In today's video, we are going to take a closer look at the editing features that OpenShot offers for video clips, and we will also learn how to apply effects. First, let's get our files imported inside our workspace. Once we imported them, we're going to drag and drop them inside the timeline into the tracks we prefer. Now let's right-click on one of the clips and open this menu. We already saw this menu in the previous videos for two reasons. First reason, we used remove clip to clear the timeline, and then we saw it to slice the video with the marker. But this menu is really larger than that. And let's see what it offers. First of all, we can copy a clip, the effects, or the keyframes. Let's copy a clip, for example. We copied the clip and then we are going to position ourselves on a track we prefer, for example here, and right-click on it so that we can select Paste. Now we copied and pasted one of our clips. As we saw, we can copy clips, effects and keyframes. Now we cannot copy effects because we didn't apply any effect. But what are keyframes? This function lets us copy all the characteristics related to an animation from a clip to another one. If we make, for example, a rather complex or elaborated animation and we want to copy those characteristics onto another clip, we can just copy the keyframes. So this is a very useful tool for animations. But pay attention, because the keyframes can only be copied and then pasted if the properties already exist on the destination clip. For example, I cannot copy an audio keyframe onto an only video clip, so a clip without an audio. I cannot. Also, the length of the destination clip should be similar to the clip we are copying the keyframes from, because either way, if it's not too similar, we could occur in some distortions. For example, the keyframes and the animation effects could be accelerated or slowed. Moving forward, we can cut the clip or clip segments with Ctrl X or this option cut right here. Then we can paste everything that we can copy, and we can insert a fade, which is a normal, really classical transition that OpenShot offers us. We can insert a fade at the start, at the end, or during the entire clip. For example, let's insert a slow fade out, so at the end of the clip, because the fade can also be either fast or slow. If we move our marker and play the clip, we'll be able to see the effect of the fade. Exactly like this. Let's move back and take a look at other animations we can insert. For example, we can insert an animation also at the start, at the end, or during the entire clip. And we can insert different types of animations. For example, a zoom, a movement from the center to the edge, or from the edge to the center, or from an edge to another. For example, let's insert a zoom in from 50 to 100%, and then we can also insert a movement from the center to the right at the end of the clip. If we move with our marker and play the clip again, we'll be able to see the results of our animations. We can also play our clip fast forward, As we saw from the video preview, our video moved away to the right when fading, just like we wanted. Also, we can insert a rotation. Let's insert it, for example, to this clip right here. Let's rotate it to the left, 90 degrees to the left. This is the result. So, the rotation is not an animation. There is not a point where the video rotates. It begins and it ends already rotated. So, it's sort of permanent condition we impose. Permanent because there's no start to it, there's no animation that rotates our video, but also reversible, of course. We can insert no rotation and undo what we have done. Let's rotate it again. Going back to the menu, we can also edit the layout of the video. For example, we can change its dimension and location. Let's insert a quarter the size to the bottom left. And this right here is the result. Of course, for every operation we have right here, we can reset everything. We can also edit the time, so the length of our clip. For example, we can fast forward it 2, 4, 8 or 16 times faster than its original length. We can slow it down, forward and backward. We can fast it backward as well. Let's slow it down half of its length. And we see now that the clip will last 2 times its original length. We can also freeze the clip or freeze and zoom it. This operation will be applied at the exact moment and exact frame our marker is set on. So if we want to set it on a precise spot, for example right here, we move our marker and then go on time again, freeze and zoom, and for example I'm going to freeze and zoom it for 4 seconds. We can see how the miniature got bigger because we elongated the clip with a freeze. Also, moving forward, for the clips that have a volume, we can edit the volume. I can only edit the volume of this clip right here because this clip and also this one don't have an audio. Only this one of my clips has an audio. So I can edit the volume. For example, I can insert a higher volume at the start of the clip, or at the end, or during the entire clip. I can insert a fade in, fast or slow of the volume. For example, let's insert a level 130% of volume at the start of the clip, so that our video will start with a higher audio. If we played it, we would be able to hear how our audio is higher. We can also see it how by separating the audio or by displaying the waveform. Like this. We see that the waveform right here is way higher. Let's go on display again and show the thumbnail, which is the thumbnail we always have on the track. Again, we can separate the audio like this. Let's move this clip and we will see that now we have 2 different tracks. A track with just the video and a track with only the audio. This tool is very useful for all the times we need to cut only the audio. For example, at a certain time of the video we have an unwanted audio, we can separate the audio track and cut only the audio track to create a segment of mute video. Again, we already saw how to slice a video. We can transform a video. What are we talking about? Let's go and put our marker, for example, on this clip. We can transform our video from the video preview like this. We can rotate it, we can twist it like this, and we can move it around like this. This is a very useful tool for all the editing we cannot get from the menu right here. For example, in this menu, we cannot rotate it like this. We can only rotate it 90 degrees on the left, on the right, or 180 degrees. We cannot do this or this. If we go back and play our clip will be rotated. Last function but not least, we can check our properties. Like this, we can take a look at the properties of our video. So what are we noticing in this properties section? That there are some properties that are highlighted in blue. What does it mean? That these kind of properties are being changed during the video. It's always useful to keep an eye to the properties of our video if we are going to edit it in a particular way and so on. For now, let's close this section and let's see the effects. So let's go back to a video not much edited, like this one, and let's go get some effects. We can find the effects right here, as we already saw in one of the first lessons. And how do we apply an effect to our clip? We choose one of the effects, for example negative, and we drag and drop it onto our clip. Like this, and from the video preview, we can see the effect we applied. If we want to check the properties of our effect, we can just click with the left button of the mouse on this thumbnail right here, and this properties section will pop up. Let's close it, because if we want to delete the effect, we can just right click on it and this small menu will pop up. We can copy the effect, check its properties, as we already are doing, or remove it. As we can see, the effect issue was really easy. Just drag and drop them inside the clip if we want to insert an effect, and right click on its thumbnail to remove it. That's all for today's video. If you want, you can support the channel by subscribing, and stay tuned for all the lessons. See you next video.